bills.
Call 800-935-0994 or visit everythingbrakes.com.
Coming up on First at 4, Kentucky lawmakers gather for the last day of the legislative session until February. Plus, new details revealed in Idaho provide intelligence on the murders of 4 university students.
Plus, showers are back in the forecast as we head into this weekend. The latest on when we see the best chance of rain and how temperatures will respond. Coming up as First at 4 continues right now.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
Lawmakers are heading home after wrapping up the first part of the 2023 session. When they come back in February, a lot of issues remain to be resolved, including income tax reductions, possible legislation to allow medical marijuana, and sports betting, reforms to juvenile justice, and tweaks to the state budget. But one bill that could see some action this year deals with banning cell phone usage while driving. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to the sponsor of that bill and has more from the state capitol.
Representative James Tipton says he has filed this bill in past sessions, but it's failed to get much action. He says he hopes this year the brakes are not put on the bill that he says should make driving safer by curbing the use of cell phones while driving. He says it is House Bill 12. It's called the Phone Down Kentucky Act. He says a lot of the surrounding states have done this and wants Kentucky to be next. He says with the increase in technology, it's becoming more and more of a danger and a distraction on the highways. He says part of the inspiration is from a case out of Illinois where a woman lost her mother due to distracted driving. He says 5 out of the 7 surrounding states have laws that ban cell phone use while driving.
And essentially what this law would do would prohibit the holding of a phone or any type of device on any part of your body, your hand. Basically, with the increase in technology, we have Bluetooth technology now. Many people have that option.
Tipton says it's so easy for people to become lost while using their phones while driving, and he says it only takes a second for something tragic to take place. He says there are penalties in this bill for first, second, and third offense.
That was Phil Pendleton reporting. Now, Kentucky already has a law banning texting while driving, but Tipton says police say it's difficult to enforce. Public health officials in Pike County say flu and COVID-19 cases are up following the holidays. Pike County Public Health Director Tammy Riley says Pike County has more than 700 active flu cases and more than 300 active COVID-19 cases at the moment due to a post-holiday spike. Riley adds the good news about this spike is that we are swiftly seeing cases leveling back out, and many of these cases are not ending in deaths or hospitalizations.
The numbers are not low by any means, but they're not gaining exponentially. So we're starting to see, if you graph the numbers, and looked at it from an epidemiological perspective, an epidemiologist would tell you that on a graph that those numbers are starting to level out or flatten.
Riley also added that folks should consider getting their flu shot or a COVID vaccine, especially for children, and hopes that everyone has a happier and much healthier 2023. We'll have more on the post-holiday flu and COVID spike coming up tonight at 5:30.
Mostly sunny for many through the day, but still a few showers out, or not even showers, but a few clouds around the region, and actually coming to bring us a nice sunset in some spots. Here's a look from UVA Wise right now with just those high clouds out there, just the clouds you want to see if you're into a pretty nice sunset here within the next hour and a half or so. Low 40s out in Wise right now. A little warmer as you head toward Whitesburg, but still pretty we're starting to see that sunset in any case. Mild in some spots, at least comparatively speaking. We should be about 44 this time of year. We have a few locations there, Prestonsburg and into Clintwood, but others in the middle and even upper 40s right now. Jacksboro, good afternoon. You're in the low 50s right now. We'll continue to see those temperatures, though, start to drop as we head through tonight. A few clouds in the Big Sandy kept it a little cooler there today. Heading into tonight, we'll see those temperatures holding steady in the 40s with mostly to partly cloudy skies heading through tonight. It's something we'll continue to watch as those clouds increase ahead of our next system. Details on that in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. New details emerge in Idaho providing insight on the murders of 4 university students. Publicly released court documents show one of the roommates saw a man inside the house dressed in black and wearing a mask. CNN's Ivan Rodriguez reports.
For the first time in months, a probable cause affidavit released Thursday shows what led investigators to arrest Brian Koberger.
This is clearly an event that was well planned out.
According to court documents, phone records show the suspect's phone was near the residence of the 4 University of Idaho students at least 12 times since June. Trash recovered from the suspect's family's home that was tested for DNA, also matching a tan leather knife sheath left behind at the crime scene, laying on the bed of one of the victims, according to the affidavit.
I think they have a pretty strong case just based on that. At least circumstantial. They still don't have a murder weapon. Be great if they found it.
One of the roommates who was not harmed told investigators she heard crying in the house that same morning and a male voice saying, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." According to the affidavit, the roommate also saw a masked man dressed in black in the house and walking towards her.
I think she was just scared. Very scared.
Steve Gonsalves is the father of Kaylee, one of the students who was killed. He says the suspect was stalking and hunting them.
He was just a person looking for an opportunity, and it just happened to be in that house. And that's hard to take.
Nearly 2 months after the killings, more questions remain. Investigators haven't said publicly if the suspect knew the victims. It's unclear why the unharmed roommate didn't immediately call 911, and the motive remains a mystery. I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
A report by nearly 36 scientists and conservationists claim Utah's Great Salt Lake could disappear in 5 years without a massive emergency rescue. They are calling on Utah lawmakers to take emergency measures to save the lake. The lake has fallen to an alarmingly low level amid a climate change-fueled mega drought. Without a much-needed dramatic increase in water by next year, experts warn the lake will disappear in the next half-decade. It's now nearly 20 feet below its average level after losing more than 70% of its water and exposing 60% of its lake bed. The Environmental Protection Agency wants to crack down on air pollution with a new rule. Right now, the limit of fine particle pollution is 12 micrograms per cubic meter of air, but the EPA wants to reduce that limit to between 9 and 10 micrograms. The fine particle matter, like soot, is caused by the burning of fossil fuels and wood. It's one of the smallest, most dangerous pollutants in the air. When inhaled, it can travel deep into lung tissue and enter the bloodstream. It contributes to lung cancer, cardiovascular disease, asthma, and other respiratory illnesses. The EPA's new proposal is expected to be finalized later this year. At this hour, historic conflict on Capitol Hill continues as the House of Representatives enters day 4 in the struggle to elect a speaker. CNN's Chris Newen has the latest from the nation's capital.
As the clock struck noon Friday, the battle to elect a Speaker of the House was underway once more.
I rise to nominate Kevin McCarthy for Speaker of the House.
Ahead of Friday's voting, House Speaker hopeful Kevin McCarthy sounded confident despite suffering an embarrassing string of defeats over 3 long days.
We're gonna get it done.
As the fight for the gavel drags on, it has now become the longest speaker contest in 164 years. One of McCarthy's supporters says the hardliners could eventually face consequences.
Their constituents expect them to be effective, and for them to be able to do that, they're going to have to negotiate not just with the speaker, but they have to pass bills off the House floor. And there's a group of members right now that are watching and what they're doing to the Congress, and probably aren't going to be very happy with them and aren't going to be very easy to work with over the next 2 years.
Some of the GOP holdouts say they'll remain firm.
You never have to ask me again if I'm a no on Kevin McCarthy. I will never vote for Kevin McCarthy.
Democratic colleagues across the aisle say the holdout is holding them up.
We're not receiving briefings. We're not able to have the discussions with the administration. So there's a lot that's happening that's preventing oversight, preventing us from doing all the normal work, and it's not good.
In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn.
Now, McCarthy did gain some votes today, but ultimately lost the 13th round of voting, and this just in, the House is now adjourning, we understand, until 10 p.m. tonight as Representative McCarthy hopes to round up the final votes he needs to become Speaker. So it could be a late night on Capitol Hill. Of course, we'll continue to follow it. Coming up on First at 4, one exercise equipment company has agreed to pay $19 million for failing to report unsafe treadmills.
Well, showers are back in the forecast. I'll break it all down after this.